Welcome all to the second day of the incredible week of learning and growth, International Coaching Week, ICW 2023, where it is the time to ignite your passion and take your coaching experience to the next level. Today, we are going to be with the coach Nada Faris from Kuwait, and she will be sharing with us her experience in journaling in this webinar, Journaling for Creativity. Nada Faris is a writer and a creative writing teacher from Kuwait with over 10 years of writing and teaching experience. She has an M.F.A. from Columbia University and is the author of multiple books in different genres. I believe that she would like to share with us some of her books so we can read about these books and learn more about Coach Nada. In 2018, she received an Arab Woman Award for her impact on Kuwait's creative landscape, and she has represented Kuwait at London's Shubback Festival and at Law University's International Writing Program. In 2022, she received her coaching training certification and has since been helping her clients take deliberate steps toward achieving their creative dreams. According to a previous meeting with Coach Nada, we learned that she used to give as much as she can of non-stop helps and advice for her friends and for all the society around her. And later, when she joined coaching, she told us that she stopped that from being with all those people for many hours. Maybe it will maybe go for one day or more. Now she learned how to help people with coaching. And one of these is writing journals. And I saw this video for Coach Nada with the TED for Al Shuwaykh, and she was speaking about her journals and how those journals helped her to be from the negative person to another positive person. But now, actually, she is a coach, and how she is gonna teach us and help us to know more about journaling for us as a coach. Let's read all about this. Coach Nada, let's ask go start the mic, please.
All right. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. For all of the people who are in the Zoom, it would be really lovely to see your faces. If it's not too much of a bother, can you turn on your video? This is going to be an interactive workshop. I'd love to get to see you and also read your input in the chat. But yeah, only if it's something that you feel that you can do. So let's begin. Hi, everyone. My name is Nada Faris. And as Fatma Deshti said, I'm a Kuwaiti writer and creative writing teacher who is now a certified coach for creatives. I provide 4 coaching packages. Academic coaching for grad students to help them combat fear, doubt, writer's block, and other forms of overwhelm. Book coaching for writers so they can enjoy the creative process while making substantial headway on their manuscripts. Career coaching for creatives to help individuals recognize their authentic desires, unleash their creative potential, and make a living doing what they love. And finally, I offer a coaching for cultural organizations to help teams zero in on their values, processes, goals, and culture so they can create a supportive environment for their purpose-driven employees. If you would like to learn more about any of these packages, or if you'd like a free discovery call with me to see if we are compatible, and to discuss your creative project and timeline, head on to my website and fill out the form for the call. Let's see if this works. Wonderful. Now, because of the time limit, we're going to go through the workshop material first, and I'll scroll back at the end to answer all your questions. So please write them down in the chat, and at the end, I'll invite everyone to share. As I said, this is, inshallah, God willing, going to be an interactive workshop. So hopefully we're going to get the chat moving. All right. I'd like to start the workshop with a little disclaimer. While I have 10 years of experience teaching creativity on the page in the form of writing fiction, poetry, and nonfiction, this is not how I'll be using the term creativity today. In other words, today's workshop is not concerned with honing one's creativity in their chosen craft, whether it be music or painting or poetry or filmmaking, to name a few endeavors. And while I have experience also helping creative people turn their hobbies into businesses or into professional careers, again, this is not how I'll be using the term creativity today. So, what does creativity mean in this workshop? And what does it have to do with journaling? Before we answer these two questions, I'd like us to delve into a journaling exercise. We're going to be doing a lot of writing today, so please choose the method that works for you. I am personally old school, so I like to write using journals and pens, but if you prefer technology, go ahead and pull out your notepad or your Google Doc or your preferred journaling app, and let's get right into our first prompt. Let me know in the chat if you're ready to start writing.
Yes, we are.
Okay, I see one thumbs up. Ready? Wonderful. All right. So think of an upcoming event or an encounter with someone important, like a loved one that you're thinking of perhaps committing to or breaking up with, or think of a difficult conversation that you might need to have with a friend or a family member, or anything else that has the potential for being a charged decision or a tense encounter. In the next 3 minutes, please write anything you want about the situation. All right, let's see. If you are someone who already journals, apply the method that you normally use. And if you are new to journaling, you can write about what is going on, what do you feel, and why you feel that way. I am going to start a timer, confronting them and writing, for example. So what we're going to be doing is thinking of a situation that we have upcoming. And yeah, if you want to confront them in your writing, you can. If you want to describe your feelings and what's going on inside you, you can. Just let's think of that upcoming situation. Maybe you want to change your job, or maybe you think you want to ask for a raise. Anything that you think might be a big decision that could impact your life. Let's take just a few minutes to write about it. And like I said, you can write about what's going on, how you feel, and why you feel that way. And don't worry if you don't write everything down, we will have time to keep fleshing out this scenario later. So I am counting us down. All right. You can put your pens down for now or stop writing on your keyboards. And like I said, we're definitely going to go back to this situation soon. All right. We're going to leave the journal as it is for a few minutes and talk about what happens in our bodies and in our minds when we encounter painful situations. I'll be referring specifically to trauma because I believe many of us have experienced versions of it throughout our lives, but to a lesser degree, pain, both physical and perceived, also impacts us in the same way. So keep that in mind if you're someone who believes that you've not experienced anything particularly traumatic. In The Body Keeps the Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma, Bessel van der Kolk writes, research from these new disciplines, and by that he means neuroscience, developmental psychopathology, and interpersonal biology. Yeah, we now know that their behavior are not the result of moral failings or signs of lack of willpower or bad character. They are caused by actual changes in the brain. So this is the first point we need to address today. Namely, that painful experiences do not pass with time alone. Their impact is psychosomatic. In fact, not only do they affect the way we think and process information and the way we experience feelings, but they end up rewriting those very processes at the unconscious level. In other words, pain changes us in ways that are invisible to our unconscious mind. So now go back to your journaling exercise and ask yourself, when I describe the upcoming situation, did I do so from a place of pain, fear, guilt, shame, or regret? Am I aware of how these emotions cloud my judgments? Or have they been operating on an unconscious level? Simply put, we want to start thinking about what our brains are relying on when they begin to process a potential conflict or a challenging situation. I'll give you a few moments just to reflect on what you've written so far. And for anybody who's a newcomer, this is going to be an interactive workshop. I'm going to be asking people in the chat to sometimes share their work, but so far, we've just journaled about an upcoming situation that is important, but that could be stressful. All right. Thumbs up in the chat if you're still with me. Thumbs down if you're confused and you need some explanation. Ah, wonderful. Beautiful. Okay. Let's move on. For those of you who looked at your journaling exercise and noticed that when you were journaling about how you were feeling and what was coming up for you, you were coming from a place of pain, I want to underscore the fact that this is normal. So here's another quote from the same book, The Body Keeps the Score. And van der Kolk continues to say, trauma results in a fundamental reorganization of the way mind and brain manage perceptions. It changes not only how we think and what we think about, but also our very capacity to think. We have discovered that helping victims of trauma find the words to describe what has happened to them is profoundly meaningful, but usually it is not enough. The act of telling the story doesn't necessarily alter the automatic physical and hormonal responses of bodies that remain hypervigilant or prepared to be assaulted or violated at any time. For real change to take place, the body needs to learn that the danger has passed and to live in the reality of the present. All right. This means two things. In order for our brains to process pain, we need to be able to articulate it. In other words, to put it in words. This is where journaling comes in, because you'd be using words to bring those hidden mental processes to the surface. But even more importantly, number two, we're not going to be staying in the pain. The tools I'll be sharing today are designed to reprogram your unconscious thinking to move away from the need to survive and move closer toward ways that will help us thrive. One last quote from the book, which I highly recommend, by the way, if you haven't read it already. But this one last quote is going to lay the final point in explaining why the journaling exercise we do today can have a tremendous impact on transforming the way you think so you can experience a better quality of life. So Van der Kerk says in the same book, imagination is absolutely critical to the quality of our lives. Our imagination enables us to leave our routine everyday existence by fantasizing about food, travel, falling in love, or having the last word, all the things that make life interesting. Imagination gives us the opportunity to envision new possibilities. It is an essential launch pad for making our hopes come true. It fires our creativity, relieves our boredom, alleviates our pain, enhances our pleasure, and enriches our most intimate relationships. When people are compulsively and constantly pulled back into the past, to the last time they felt intense involvement and deep emotions, they suffer from a failure of imagination, a loss of mental flexibility. Without imagination, there is no hope, no chance to envision a better future, no place to go, no goal to reach. And friends, this is the work we'll be doing today, namely how to strengthen our imaginative faculties to work directly on our pain, not from the pain itself, but rather from a more authentic place, a place beyond the pain, one that is more genuinely you. So again, another disclaimer, imagination here doesn't mean engaging in escapist fictions. Rather, it means strengthening the very muscles that will help us rewrite our mental algorithms so we can become more authentic, braver, more vulnerable, and capable of receiving love from a place of worthiness. Because we are all deserving of love and happiness and health and success, but we have all been hurt before. And without knowing it, our brains rewrote our mental faculties to help us focus more on how to avoid pain, shame, guilt, embarrassment, failure, or rejection, instead of focusing on all the available opportunities that can help us thrive at any given moment. So today's workshop will help us reclaim our agency and become clear on what truly matters to us. I have been journaling for years, not just to document what happens or what I'm thinking, but as a way to transform my reality, change how I think and feel, and make the impossible possible. Not by giving up my power to a person or a situation, but by becoming more and more responsible for how I think, feel, act, and react. I developed this brief workshop to share with you today these journaling tools. So let us get into the nuts and bolts of what, in my opinion, makes a creative psyche. So in my journaling, I've identified 4 pillars for a creative psyche: values, actions, feelings, and purpose. Every one of these pillars reclaims your agency. They take you away from what someone thinks or does and away from expected or unexpected outcomes, so that all the effort you begin to spend from this point onward will be both personal and internal. So your values are your core beliefs. They drive your behavior, whether consciously or unconsciously. We already discussed how your body keeps the score. In other words, how your body records your pain and unconsciously drives you to make decisions from a narrow-minded place, focused on protection from real or imagined harm. If left unchecked, the values that will be driving our actions might include fear of rejection, fear of being ostracized by family, community, romantic partner, etc. Fear of opening up and being hurt again, fear of getting attached and then abandoned, fear of sharing work and being critiqued or attacked, fear of showing our true selves and being called crazy, too sensitive, or even abnormal. There are multiple algorithms that are currently driving our everyday actions and decisions. By merely choosing a different set of values and writing them down, we become more cognizant of our moral compasses and more capable of realigning what we say we believe in and how we show up in the world. So I invite everyone today to write down at least 10 values that you would like to be identified with. For example, honesty, generosity, humility, compassion, etc. And please share the 10 values in the chat when you're done. Anybody has their 10 values down? Authenticity, beautiful.
Coach Nada, can we
Hello.
go back in the slides so it
Oh,
will be
yeah.
obvious for all?
Sure. Let's go back. Would that work?
Yes. Yeah. So they can pick.
Yeah. Freedom, dignity. I can, of course, you can add your own values. Yes, these are just samples. Beautiful.
Freedom.
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Pick one value from your list that currently resonates with you. I see in the chat authenticity, compassion, freedom, dignity, fairness. Pick one of them. Then write 2 to 5 actions associated with this value. When you're done, please drop your value and actions in the chat. Here is an example. Honesty, beautiful. So Fahad said honesty, and we have an example for honesty. You can say something like, I am going to give 3 genuine compliments today. That's an action associated with how you can show up as your value in the week to come. Another example for an action associated with honesty is open up to a partner about how they hurt me and how I would have preferred they responded. Or tell a friend who wants to gossip that while I appreciate the friendship, I don't want to spend time or energy gossiping about others. I would much rather talk about our goals and plans, right? There is another example for discipline, but let's just take a couple of minutes, and the value that resonates with you, try to ground it in 2 to 3 or 2 to 5, depending on what you like, actions. These are what you are going to be committing to do in the next week. All right. Thumbs up if we're good so far. Thumbs down if we need to pause. Thumbs up. We're good? All right. So now we're going to move on to the third pillar for developing or honing a creative psyche. But here's the thing. On the one hand, our brain had already rewritten our cognitive processes from a wounded place, a place of more often than not negative feelings. So the exercise that we're going to do today will therefore not automatically change the way our body experiences emotions. Passion, creativity, innovation, freedom. Beautiful. Beautiful, Faye. Amazing. Now we want you to think of the feelings that you want to associate with the experiences that you just wrote down. For example, for anyone who said honesty, these are just examples. You can definitely write your own. But saying something like, I want to feel calm when I give those compliments, or I want to feel connected when I share about how somebody I cared about hurt me, and give them an opportunity to show up for me from a place of love, right? Or I want to feel proud of myself for speaking the truth about something. So we've identified a value, and then we grounded this value into 2 to 3 actions that we are committing to do in the week to come. But we have also said before starting any of those activities, we're telling our brain these are the feelings that we want to connect to. But what do you do when, regardless of how you act, you know, the feelings of pain, shame, guilt, regret, trauma, wounds, etc., those feelings come up? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to learn of an exercise right now that helps us not transform negative feelings, but just accept them as they are. It's a letting go technique. First, you name the emotion if you can. This is important because it will remind you that a feeling is just a feeling. It's not who you are. It's only a temporary experience. And the more that you expand your affective lexicon, or like the dictionary of feelings, your vocabulary for emotions, the more that you'll expand it, the more that you'll be able to distance who you are from a transient experience in the body. And then we are going to locate that negative feeling in the body. For example, do you feel it in your stomach, or your head, or your back, or your legs, or your heart, or your throat? And then we're going to breathe slowly into that part of the body, hold the breath there for a few seconds, and then let it out. Is anybody up for a small breathing exercise that lets us deal with negative feelings? I'm not sure I see.
We have Hala 5.
Hala?
We have Hala 5. Please
Hala
unmute
5.
yourself.
Hi, Hala.
Hi.
Wonderful.
Hala, I'm Lebanese living in Egypt, and I'm willing to share and
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Amazing. Thank you so much. So this is almost like a weapon that you can use during the week if a negative feeling comes up, that this is not the feeling that you told your brain to focus on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about the last negative feeling that you had.
The very last one dominant feeling, a fear.
Fear, beautiful. So you named it. We have named that this is fear. This fear is not who you are. This fear is just a feeling. It is transient. It is ephemeral, right?
Yep.
So that's step number one. We named it. Step
Mhm.
number two, are you able to locate that fear in your body? So when you felt it, where was it?
My heart.
Heart, beautiful. That's so true. Fear shows up in the heart. Anxiety shows up in the stomach, right? Beautiful. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. If you'll allow me,
Please.
sit as comfortably as possible, and everybody who's willing to participate with us, this is what we do when we feel a negative feeling. Hela, breathe in for 4 seconds. And as you breathe in, you want to imagine the breath going into your heart, where the place of fear is. You're going to hold that breath for 4 seconds, and then you're going to let it go for another 4 seconds. So 4 seconds in to the heart, 4 seconds in the heart, 4 seconds out.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful. Let's do it one more time. 4 seconds in. 4 seconds in the heart. 4 seconds out.
Feel good.
How do you feel better?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Magic.
Magic. I love that. But this is what we can do during the week if something comes up that is that aggravates our anxiety or fear or anger. Again, we are not removing the emotion. We're not transforming the emotion. What we are doing is recalibrate. Oh, sorry, Hanfi, did you want to say something? Sure, please,
Yeah.
can you unmute?
Yeah, first, thank you so much. It seems I missed a lot of this session as I joined late due to difficulty in the connection. Anyway, before the session, like 1 hour, I encountered a very difficult situation with my child.
Oh,
He's in the middle of his puberty, and I was coming exhausted from the work and the traffic, and of course, whatever goes in the work doesn't come to the house. But while I'm still in the mode of the work, we got a clash using word the ego clash, if you know what I mean. So what happened? I felt really strong feelings of anger, and this feeling is still controlling me till now, and I couldn't let it go because I want the situation to get bigger. Yet I am squeezing that feeling inside me. Of course, I feel it everywhere in my body, my shoulders, my head, my eyes, my heart, my lung, my stomach. And fortunately, I met you on this. I made this exercise, but of course, it seems I need to exercise more here. What I wanted to ask about, sorry that I elaborated. What I wanted to ask about, so the feeling is negative, and I felt it in my body, and I named it. Yet the intellectual part of this feeling, I mean, thinking and rethinking again of what happened, and I shouldn't have done so, and he shouldn't have said so, and it accumulates more. What could I do? Thank you.
You said that you came late. Can you just let me know at what point of the workshop did you come in?
It's just 8 minutes back.
8 minutes back.
Yes.
All right. Well,
So
this is perfect. Thank you, Hamfi, because now you can ground the workshop exercise in a real situation. We started this workshop by talking about an upcoming situation that could have been difficult. So in your case, it could be a conversation with your child. And we just spent first a few minutes, like you were saying, your mind was ruminating on the what should I say? What should he say? What happened? How I feel about it? I feel the anger in every part of my body. We spent a few minutes just writing all of that down. So taking it out of our heads and putting it on a page. Okay. And then we said that pain and trauma is saved in the body. It becomes an unconscious algorithm that makes us choose actions in the future from a place of that unconscious pain. Right? Yeah. So now what we're going to do is we are going to use this journaling exercise to reprogram our unconscious mind. So the next time we are in a challenging situation, we don't come from a place of pain or past fears or past trauma, but we show up from a place of genuine authenticity. And I named 4 pillars for having that kind of creative psyche. We started by writing what our values are. Why? Because we want to transcend the pain or the feeling. So let's say I'm currently angry, but actually, what is my transcendent value? Unity with my children, for example. I want to be a gentle parent, right? Like gentleness, calmness. These are values that you can write about in the beginning. And then we said, so before I speak to my child again, I am now going to determine 2 to 3 activities or actions that are going to connect me to that value. So let's say in the case of gentleness, number 1, if I speak to my child again and he says something that angers me, I am not going to respond until I take 3 long breaths and 3 long exhales. So you have just connected to calmness in a challenging moment. Another thing you can say is, I am going to write down some things that I am going to say if my child says something that angers me. And so you write them down. You say something like, I hear you. I recognize the pain in your voice. I want you to know that as your father, I love you and support you anyway. And you've written this down now in your journal before the situation happens. So now whatever he says, you're already prepared. Whatever he says, you're not going to focus on the words. You're going to focus on the value and the actions connected with your value. For example, I hear the pain in your voice. I want you to know that I love you and I'm going to support you anyway, right? And now we move on to step number 3, which is we want to identify the feelings we want to tell our brains focus on. So focus on love and connection. Focus on harmony with my child. Focus on feeling of being supported both as a parent and as a child. And then we also said, realistically speaking, because of the way that we have been brought up, most of us still have a lot of trauma and pain embedded in our bodies. And therefore, regardless of how we prepare for a challenging situation, sometimes it still is the case that we are flooded with anger. And we gave this other tool. And the tool is when we feel a feeling that is negative, first we have to name it, and then we have to locate it in the body. For example, when you said the anger flushes everywhere, and it's true. Anger makes your blood boil, so it's in the blood. It goes everywhere in your body. So when you do the breathing exercise, that's literally what you do. Take a step, isolate yourself from the situation, name the feeling, understand that you are not the feeling. This is fear, and you are Hanfi, right? You are not fear, you are Hanfi, but fear is just an emotion. Step number 2, we locate it in the body. Okay, I recognize that my whole blood is boiling. Step number 3, I'm going to breathe 4 seconds into every part of my body. I'm going to hold it for 4 seconds, and then I'm going to let it out. All right?
Really, thank you. Yes.
Yeah?
Right.
Alhamdulillah, I'm glad. And now let's move on to the final part of the creative psyche. And its purpose. So bear in mind, we're still in the journaling phase. We haven't gone to the negative situation or the challenging situation yet. We're still preparing for it before the week begins. And here we want to ask ourselves, in general, like with values, we did an exercise first where we talked, generally speaking, what values do I want to connect to? And then we said more specifically, for this upcoming situation, this is the value that I'm going to connect with in the next few days. It's the same with purpose. I want you to take a couple of minutes just to come up with a general purpose. And the general purpose is determined by how do I want to be perceived? And how do I want to impact others? Okay. This could be anything that is like super big. I want to build 100 wells in Africa, right? Or it could be something really beautiful and profound, like some of the examples. I want to be a gentle parent. You guys don't understand how important it is to parent people, because people are the thing that makes the world go round, right? So let's just take a few seconds and answer this question, please. How do I want to be perceived? And how do I want to impact others? Okay, and now just like the value exercise, let's ground this general purpose into the specific situation that we are journaling to prepare ourselves for. So some of the questions you might ask yourselves include, why do I want to connect to my value this week? So for someone who said authenticity and who wrote down some actions that they are going to do, and then said, here are the feelings that I want to feel. Maybe I want to feel pride in my sense of self. Oh, wow, beautiful. I'm glad that it's working for you, Faye. So why do I want to connect to my value this week? And why am I committing to the 3 to 5 actions? So if I said something like, I want to be a gentle parent, and I want to write in advance the responses I'm going to give my child, so I don't respond to the things he says, but I'm always responding from my values. Why is that important? So you can say something like, it's important because my child looks up to me, and I always want my child to come to me for safety and support. I never want to be a source of fear or anger for my own child. So that could be like a higher purpose. So here are some examples for the 2 values that we've picked out. For the person who said, wait, hang on. It's like the motive to keep me going in my life goals too. Yes, exactly. That's the kind of purpose we want. So for the person who said honesty was the value that they wanted to connect with, and maybe the action included, I want to give 3 compliments or genuine compliments every day this week. The purpose could be, because I'll be more likely to remember these phrases and tell them to myself when I accomplish something or need compassion. Or feeling connected with others will challenge the loneliness that has been plaguing me for months. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes for those of you who have written a value and who have isolated a few actions that will help them connect to this value. and who have identified the feelings that they want to feel when they perform these actions, please go ahead and write why. Why is this work important for you to do this week? And if anybody is ready, here is an invitation to share. How did your feeling or thinking change in this process? You know, from we started this workshop by just writing down about the upcoming situation, and then those 4 pillars that are more guided towards what am I going to do in the days to come? Hella, would you love to share?
Yeah, I'd love to share. Thank you. Yeah, the information is excellent, very practical. I'll use the 4 pillars as a template for me from now on. I'll write it down I'll write a bookmark that has them all, and I will redo the exercise with the questions with every situation, every emotional situation. Thank you. Amazing.
No worries. Thank you, Hala. And I don't know if you know anything about me, but like I said, I have been journaling for years, and I promise you, since when I was 12, I told my mom I was going to be a writer. She told me that's never going to happen. But I told her, be very careful how you speak to me, because I will be a writer and I could just quote you in one of my books. And I did. In 2018, I had a book out. Let me show you. And a Mischief Diary. Can you see this? It doesn't show up. Oh, does that work?
Yeah.
So Mischief Diary is a collection of short stories, 15 funny tales based on real events, where I actually write about my mom and my dad and my situations. So, and I use this technique for anything in life. Things that are impossible, I promise you become possible, because you're no longer spending energy thinking about what someone else is thinking, or something that you applied for, you may or you may not get. You are spending all of your energy on trying as much as possible to connect to the higher version of yourself and to be authentic in your interactions with others. Awatif, did you want to say something?
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I liked it so much. I think you maybe needed to know that we are all silent, but for me, I feel so much impressed, and I love it so much. It's so practical. It will save time, save effort, and we can with the practice. I think it will be like ready manual for us to use, and we can also pass it to our kids, so that they can also use it. So I think it's so practical for all ages, even for like 7 for little kid, they can start with, and it's like self-oriented, very much self-oriented. So it will also save maybe time. Sometimes you think you need to save money save money. So sometimes you need coaching, but it's like self-coaching. I like it so much. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you so much. But you are absolutely right. Like, this is why I gave this workshop today, because it marries my 2 greatest loves, writing and coaching. So yeah, it's anybody else want to share? Yeah.
We have Coach Maliha.
Thank you. so much, Nada. It's really very informative and helpful information. We are really happy in the chapter that you are with us, and I will ask you please to prepare a detailed workshop so we can invite everybody who registered to have. I think everybody is needing your information, and he relate to himself in some situation. Proud of you. I'm proud that you are presenting. I've never thought. I have a need in my head, and I'm doing it all my life. I've never asked myself why. So related to my character, the values and the actions and the feelings, but it was missing the part why. So when I didn't ask myself for the values and the actions and feeling incorporated with this action, why I am having this energy to do it as soon as possible. Why? So
the purpose.
Now it's giving me more energy to do it. And thank you so much. It's really a good exercise and very helpful information. Thank you so much for the great webinar.
Thank you.
Okay. For this, I think we come to the end of our second day of ICW 2023 with Kuwait chapter. And with the permission from Coach Nada, she will allow us, we could upload the presentation also to the website of the ICF, and also you will find a copy of this recording, inshallah, on the YouTube with the Kuwait channel, also on the ICF also. I see Coach Rana here, raising the hand.
Yes, I am here, but Awatif, she raised her hand, I think.
No, she stopped.
Maybe she has a question or something. Thanks a lot, Coach Nada. Amazing, as usual.
Thank you.
Coach Maliha, she's the president of Kuwait chapter. Would you like to share with us a few words about the second day and about this lecture, please, before we...
Thank you so much, Fatma. Fatma is a board member for membership and the development of our member, and we are what I call it the wedding of coaching. Earth coaching في العالم. It is very informative. I encourage you to register as much as you can, and it is really it's your day, coaches. And Hanafi, I saw you today twice. You are in the MCC webinar, so that's why it's the connection, the most important thing. ICF, the connection of all people, all coaches around the world, and the beauty of it is serving people. This is all volunteer work, and it's growing with the future. If you need anything for developing your accreditation, you can reach Fatma. She's responsible. Also, I encourage you, please, to also spread the awareness. I want to thank you also, Nada. Great webinar. And we are waiting for the detailed workshop. يعني بلشت الحين راح تسوينا It is very useful and helpful for him. Thank you, Fatma. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rana. For the Rana is the IT board member.
الصورة الجماعية. Sorry. الصورة الجماعية ما حدا يطلع.
قبل الصورة الجماعية، Rana, would you like to share with us anything, please? أنا اللي بصورك الحين. يلا لحظة. رنا، ممكن تشاركي معنا كلمة؟
أنا صعب إني أشارك، ضجة حوالي فما بدنا نخرب الريكورد. أنا بس حابة أتشكركم من كل قلبي لكل الحضور. Amazing، في ناس من زمان ما شفتهم. أوكي، فخليني بس ابتسموا مع قلوب حب عشان أصوركم.
Now we would like to thank you all for attending with us for the second day. Please register for the third day, inshallah. Tomorrow we'll have a new lecture. It's going to be in the Arabic language with the coach Osama. And it shall be about the leadership, of course. And of course, we are learning in this week as much as we can, whether it's in the core competencies or on resource development. Happy to see you here, and we'll be more happy to see you more and more again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And good night.